business investment.
Secretary Lightsey also notes how economic development in urban areas can also benefit rural counties. For example, he notes how the forthcoming Scout Motors plant in Richland County will likely also employ people who live in the surrounding rural counties, too.
Well, addressing the growing issue of scammers targeting the elderly. Just ahead, how one group is working to educate the most vulnerable groups. Riley?
And temperatures have been trending below average for us over the last couple of weeks, and it looks like that part of the forecast will continue. We'll have an update for you just after the break.
Rooms to go.
He was going to kill me. It's believed on the day that I was rescued.
Real people.
This is not you.
It's not me.
Real problems.
We thought, oh, well, they're going to let her go.
Real life solutions.
It will save lives, no doubt about it.
Investigate TV Plus.
Welcome back, folks. Here's a live look from our Beach Island camera showing perfect conditions out there this afternoon. Now, not as much blue sky as we usually would have. We do have a little bit of haze in our sky today, actually thanks to Canadian wildfires. Once again, you can see that pretty clearly from our Beach Island camp today. 83 degrees this afternoon, so not too far away from average for the first official week of October, believe it or not. We got a good steady northeast wind again this afternoon. We are going to expect temperatures to stay in the 80s each afternoon all the way through this weekend, and also that northeast wind does look to persist. Now, through this evening and to tonight, I would say we start to drop into the 70s for most spots by around 7 o'clock. Once we get past sunset, we'll quickly fall into the 60s, and then late tonight, early Tuesday, we should be able to see the 50s again for most spots across the region early tomorrow morning. So heading out to the bus stop, may need a light jacket for the first part of the day. Temps will be in the mid to upper 50s right around sunrise. Tomorrow afternoon, we're expecting another day, most likely low to mid 80s with lots of sunshine, low humidity, northeast winds, just beautiful weather sticking around most afternoons this week. Here's our morning temps. So the next couple of mornings, we are anticipating the 50s, warm up slightly Friday morning. That's going to be thanks to a few more clouds rolling in, but then we will see those temperatures drop down again heading into the weekend. And potentially by this weekend, that's when we're talking about a big cool down. If we could extend this past Saturday, Sunday, and Monday into next week, we are looking at some of the coolest air we have seen so far this season, and potentially getting some mornings down into the 40s. So take a look at this, our 6 to 10 day outlook. This is looking ahead to late this weekend, early next week. You can see most of the East Coast is likely going to see below average temperatures, and right now from what we're looking at our high temps to actually go from the 80s this week to most likely drop into the 70s for highs by next week. That's with our afternoon high temps. With low temperatures, we'll go from the 50s for lows this week to the 40s for lows late this weekend and early next week. So even more fall-like for us once we get past this week. Now here's a look at our October stats. So right now our average low temperature near 60 degrees, average high temperature 84. By the end of the month, we're going to see our average low temp get all the way down to the 40s, and then afternoon high temps will go all the way down to the 70s by Halloween. So this is kind of that big month for our transitional season, going from summer into fall, and definitely going to start feeling like fall late into our forecast. Also, our days are getting shorter, unfortunately. By October 10th, that's going to be our last 7 p.m. sunset for 2023. And remember, we do turn those clocks back by November 5th, and that's when we're talking about sunsets before 6 o'clock and actually close to 5:30. So we got about a month until that happens. Here's our Tuesday, Wednesday forecast. Waking up in the 50s, afternoon highs in the 80s, lots of sunshine Tuesday and Wednesday, and hanging on to a good bit of sunny conditions through Thursday, but a few more clouds will show up Friday. That's going to be a sign of that cold front heading our way. So the cold front will push through most likely Saturday, still bring us a little bit of cloud cover, but bring us those much cooler temperatures Sunday into Monday.
All right, thank you, Riley. Fraud targeting senior citizens is on the rise. Last year, an estimated $3 billion was stolen from unsuspecting victims using technology that is getting more and more advanced.
Amanda Rose shows us how one group is educating Georgia seniors on these scams.
I'm in jail, and I need $200 right away.
Mildred Cohen will never forget a terrifying phone call where scammers using AI technology fake the voice of her grandson, saying he was badly injured in a car accident, in jail, and in desperate need of money for a lawyer.
I thought that was true because it was so well made up that I believed that I was getting ready to send the money.
That day, Goen nearly became a victim. Her experience, one of the many advanced fraud schemes out there, preying on some of our most vulnerable loved ones.
You'll get a call from somebody who you think is your granddaughter that you know is on vacation in Mexico, right? And she's screaming and crying and saying she's been kidnapped.
Now the FBI, U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Georgia, and DeKalb County Office of Senior Services are getting creative to tackle the problem. Seniors or anyone who cares for an aging loved one need to be armed with knowledge to protect themselves. And the FBI hopes these placemats distributed at this Lithonia Senior Center can help. The placemats providing tips on how to spot common scams, what to look out for, and how to get help if you become a victim.
That's the most important thing, is not only getting the word out, but giving them something in hand, something that's tangible.
It's a lesson Deborah Hunter learned the hard way after scammers stole her identity and took $5,000 from her credit card.
I felt violated. I mean, I work hard for my money.
It's why she hopes the placemats provide more than just a space for plates and utensils.
I mean, they're not going to apply it. It's a waste of time. They need to apply it.
And if you think you or someone you know has fallen victim to a fraud like this, you can contact the Office for Victims of Crime run by the Department of Justice.
Unexpected vet bills, they can put a massive strain on families and sometimes can lead to those pets being abandoned. Just ahead, how one group is working to help these families stay with their furry friends.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Brakes.
What makes the Eichholz Law Firm different?
For starters, we've served this community for over 45 years.
And we know that every client is unique.
We consider you friends, neighbors, and family.
We prove it in the way we fight tirelessly for your justice.
Let the Eichholz Law Firm fight for the justice you deserve.
It's one of pet owners' worst nightmares. A sudden emergency vet visit racking up thousands in bills. And for some families, this can mean saving their pet's life, and that can cause them to no longer be able to afford a pet.
In Myrtle Beach, a small group with a big goal is working towards helping pet owners cover these bills. Samuel Shelton shows us how.
They were turning their dogs over. They were just literally like having to walk off and leave their beloved pet because they couldn't afford that.
A cycle. Co-founder of the Molly's Angels Foundation, Deborah Gooding says she's ready to put an end for pet owners in a strain to cover sudden expenses. She says 2 years ago, Molly, the dog of her business partner, was hit by a car, leaving her both heartbroken and in debt.
At that point, both of us realized emergency medical bills, how expensive they really were. She did everything to save Molly, and they did everything, and you still had those medical bills.
It's what Gooding says motivated the start of this foundation, now aiming to bridge the gap between homes and animal shelters.
Instead of them turning their animals over to our already overcrowded shelters, we'll pay the medical bills.
The second annual Paw Fest, made up of craft vendors, is helping that mission with the common goal of helping animals in need.
We're not able to take in more animals, or we're not able to adopt those animals out or anything, so it really backs us all up. So now we have Molly's Angels Foundation.
One dog Hunter says has fallen victim to circumstance, also named as Molly, and once again is looking for a forever home.
She's not a bad dog, but she's just a product of what happens when people's life get a little fuller and the dogs become an inconvenience.
Now both organizations working alongside one another say they're striving to continue showing up, helping others.
Dogs love unconditionally, and whenever they lose their people, it is extremely devastating for them. Sometimes it changes their whole personalities because they've lost everything that they love.
Over the last 2 years, the foundation has assisted with at least 20 vet emergencies. and found forever homes for 3 pets. Right now, they are only working with Horry County pet owners, but they do hope in time to expand their services. The season for peanuts is here, but in Georgia, farmers say they had some trouble getting their crops to grow. One farmer says Mother Nature is not on their side this season due to cool and dry temperatures. They say this causes peanuts to grow slower than normal. So you could have to wait longer to get your hands on some Georgia peanuts because farmers are waiting longer in hopes of the crop growing more. Riley?
Well, we actually just got our climate data in for the month of September. Our average highs for the month were close to 2.5 degrees below normal. Our average lows were 3 degrees below normal, and our rainfall was about 1.5 inches above normal. So definitely a cool and wet September for us. Now look at our forecast just after the break.
I'm Mike Hostel.
Delivered. Morning, afternoon, night, Monday through Sunday, 24/7. Our first alert commitment to you is the power of 5 meteorologists, always tracking weather that impacts you, telling you what we know as soon as we know it. All the tools, the latest technology, and the first team of 5 meteorologists. First Alert is our investment in your family's safety. News 12, NBC 26 First Alert weather on your side.
The Georgia-Carolina State Fair is just around the corner and is celebrating 100 years of operation this fall. This year's fair will happen from October 13th through the 22nd at the fairgrounds on Hale Street. There'll be livestock shows, carnival rides, and games, and of course, the best part, the fair food.
Had me at food.
Yeah, and the 2023 Miss Georgia-Carolina State Fair competition. Admission is just $10, and funds raised by the Georgia-Carolina State Fair are donated to charities all over the CSRA.
And we're hoping the weather's perfect for that. It does look like we're going to see perfect weather conditions for the rest of this week. We have blue skies overhead our downtown Augusta cam. Looking over downtown Augusta Canal, generally blue skies. There's a little bit of haze out there, but not impeding the sun too much. 83 still this afternoon, and that's pretty much as hot as we've been able to get so far today for most spots. But other locations, 82 Thompson, Washington, you're at 82. Same thing in Aiken, Barnwell, Bamberg, 80 in Millen, and then 81 in Sylvania and Swainsboro. Through this evening, we'll fall into the 70s within the next couple of hours, and then after sunset we'll dip into the 60s. Morning low temps look to be a mixture of anywhere from mid to upper 50s across the area. Generally sunny skies again tomorrow. Northeast wind stays pretty persistent. High temps back low to mid 80s for the area heading into our Tuesday afternoon. Now the forecast doesn't really change much over the next couple of days. We're going to see morning lows in the 50s, highs in the 80s. Just a few more clouds expected Friday. That's going to be a sign of the front moving in this weekend. Then much cooler outlook Sunday into Monday.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.